Okay, so I got this fish, and it's got growth on it. It very much looks like a tumor to me. Uh, from what I've seen online, uh, it doesn't appear to be cancerous because those kind of grow over each other. This is more like a cyst. Almost looks like a cyst. So it's some sort of like a maybe a mutation, maybe a genetic thing, or maybe even some type of a bacterial thing. But when I looked up fish tuberculosis, it didn't look anything like that. So I'm not sure what this thing is. I just know that it's affecting the respiratory rate of the fish. It's right underneath the bottom of its mouth, like on the bottom of its gills, and it's coming out from there. So basically, the fish is gonna die if I don't do anything. And I thought, hey, I'll reach out to the local vet hospitals. Maybe they get, where do they get their students, right? That's what I thought. Where are their students being taught? And so I asked that, and then I got a few references for names I won't mention. And long story short, I contacted 3 different teaching hospitals, and none of them wanted to take this fish and do the right thing, to for their kids, their students, that they would bring it through. I mean, I'm sure that there would be students um, that would be benefited by seeing some procedure like that being done, or even being able to do it themselves, which I was willing to do. I was willing to let somebody that didn't know what the hell they were doing do it. As long as they were in the field and in the hospital or whatever. But no, they wanted between $1,500 and $2,100 to cut this tumor off and send it out for biopsies, which I didn't have an option. I didn't say no, I just want you to cut it off. No. So they're gonna ring you up for all this testing and everything, and it's a $3 fish. So yeah, just wasn't happening. So I was gonna pretty much conceded to the fact this wasn't gonna take place, and I went online and started looking around, and lo and behold, there's a lot of people doing this, probably for the exact same reasons. So I'm gonna give it a shot. The location's poor, and I think I got my work cut out for me, and I'm hoping that if this goes well, I'll get it. I'll get it out there. At least somebody will be able to see, a different result in a different area. And if it doesn't do well, then it doesn't do well, and at least I gave my shot. So I'm going to talk about what I'm going to be using. So to put the fish out, I'm going to be using a container, glass container with a little bubbler in it that's just taped so that it won't go anywhere. I will be adding clove oil into that tank to put the fish out, and clove oil will kill a fish if used in the wrong concentrations, and a lot of clove oil is cut with other things, and even some of the videos that I saw online were recommending that you cut this with alcohol, and it's like this really bad idea. So not going to do that. It's a essential oil, so it's going to be difficult to mix in with what's in the water that the fish is going into. So what I did for that was I bought. I had already had one of these. It's a like a little whisker for omelets and things like that, and I'm just gonna whisk the contents of the dosage that I'm using in a smaller cup like this, and then I'm gonna pour the contents into the larger uh, glass bowl that the fish is in, and then I'm gonna wait. And from what I understand, the fish will start to roll. Respiratory rate will slow down, and then at that point, I need to use something like these hemostats or this set of tweezers that I'm probably not going to use. Um, probably, probably use something like this. Not even just to grasp onto, but just to give it a little poke and a little bit of pressure, right where the fin starts to turn into like a just like skin, and where the body ends. So like right there at that point, I'm like pushing down to see if the fish reacts at all, and if it doesn't react at all, then it's time to take it out and do the surgery. And if it does react, then I gotta wait. But then that's like from what I've seen, that's like the time frame where everybody gets screwed up. So if you wait and you wait too long, and the fish stops breathing, then you gotta start irrigating. And so that's what these will be for, to irrigate the fish's gills, to get that stuff out of there if it becomes too concentrated. So when I looked up this particular brand, this Ethereal Nature 100% clove oil on Amazon, there was a person that had used this and commented that they used 3 drops on a betta fish. And betta fish can breathe air, so it would make sense that they would have needed to use more drops to put the fish out. And I'm assuming that this is really strong, and I'm only going to need 1 to 2 drops. So I'm going to, given the fact that the fish is slightly larger than a fighting fish, I'm gonna start with 2, and then if 2 doesn't work, I'm gonna add 1 at a time until I start seeing the effects that I just discussed. During the procedure, I made myself I just drilled a hole in the top of a Poland Springs bottle, and I ran an airline through that, and that's at an elevated position, and it's on a little clip here, so that when I'm ready to go and I need to keep the fish irrigated, or I need to if I need to flood away or flush away any bleeding, then I'll be able to use this as opposed to squirting with something real fine. And then on that note, I used the top side of a storage container that's got a fairly deep well, so that when I do make the incision and maybe have to start doing some flushing, that this well won't fill up and be a hindrance, or be anything that touches me. And also I'll probably keep the fish on this little couple beds here, a paper towel that I've, just to keep it in an elevated position and slightly drier, so that I can make my incision. But these will be dampened. I'm gonna have to dampen those. Yeah, so once the fish is out and the cut is made, I'll be needing to dry the wound off slightly, and then I'd be needing to cauterize it. So I got this pen here. It's meant for like arts and crafts. It's like a little heat pen, and it's got a really fine tip on it that gets super hot. It's enough to cut a little glass bead, and enough to cut fire line for fishing line, which is really tight stuff. So this should do the job, and this will also be used on the blood vessel that I think is running through it, because it looks like it's got a little blood vessel going through it. So when I cut, I'll have to use this to find the one little vessel and burn it, and then once that is done, I'll just be making sure that the fish is, okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of this betadine solution right at the wound site, and this is 1 drop per 15 drops of water, so it's diluted, and it's also a non it's not mixed with anything. There's no additives in there that could burn the fish other than the actual betadine itself. So that's diluted. And then once that's sprayed on there, this is an antiseptic. Oop, I'm gonna take this. Hello. No. Okay, minor disturbance that must have been happening to me right now. It's all right. So, fish is wounded, cauterization's made, betadine is applied. Once you put the fish back in the water, that's going to wash right off, and then the wound will be subject to whatever's in the tank water, and that's not good. So you got to take this extra step, from what I understand, of adding this bio bandage. And it's pretty much the only thing out on the market that you can get cheap, and without a prescription or whatever. And it's basically mimics the slime coat of the fish, and it'll lock up the betadine that I apply, and make sure that the fish doesn't get an infection in the area. And it can be applied directly and then also applied into the tank. So I don't think I'll be doing that, because I get a conditioner with aloe, and I'll be using bay leaves, Indian almond leaves. So I think this will just be a topical application once I'm done with the cut and I've applied the betadine, and then the fish will go into this same container, which will have the clove oil removed. I'll go ahead and dump that when I'm doing my surgery, and then it'll recover, and hopefully live. And if not, it will die right then and there. one one way or the other. We'll be finding out tonight. So I think I described the process pretty much. I got this craft knife here to make the incisions very sharp, so I think it'll get the job done. And then of course I got this little set of tweezers here that are very sharp, and I'll be able to get in an angle where the base of the tumor is, and maybe pinch off what I can't cut, while also cutting with these, because they're very fine, and probably should be able to cut through any of the tumor that's left. So that's the plan. I don't think I left anything out. I'm gonna go ahead and start the process here. Get the fish in here, and get the air going, and then start the rest of the process. Too much water into here, but I'll just add enough so that the fish doesn't get stressed out. Now, I was tempted to use aquarium salts at some point in this process, and I think I will when I put the fish back in here. But not prior. And the water that I used is from the tank. It's not tap, dechlorinated tap that still needs to have its pH runoff or anything. It's just from the tank water. You know what? There is one thing I pretty much didn't talk about, and that was the possibilities of spreading pathogens to humans when you're doing stuff like this. And it's true. Like the fish can get fish tuberculosis and other bacterial infections that can spread to humans. So protection is absolutely essential, and I'll be using a mask. And I'll be also using gloves, and I left that part out. So yeah, I'll try to keep things as sterile as I can for both the fish and me. And that's it. Things going. So I used a cup there and not a net so that to reduce the amount of slime coat that the fish would lose during that transfer. It probably doesn't help too much, but in something like this, it'll at least help with the not adding any physical damage to the tumor. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this out a little bit. Alright, so we got our fish in our water. Now we gotta get our anesthetic ready. Shaking up the clove oil here. Okay, this is for the water, so we'll use that for the bandage. We'll use this one for the oil. Having a hard time getting it because they've set it up with a dropper in it, so cheat it into a cap first. And I'm going to add some more just in case I need to draw from this later. So we got 1, 2 drops. Put this away over here. Alright. Oh, actually, I'm going to put this somewhere where it won't spill. Just in case anything gets in the way. We got a whisker. Whisk this up. Okay, I can smell it, so it's amazing how strong that you can get that from just 2 drops. So I gotta lower the camera, get my mask on, and we're gonna do this. What I was thinking about doing was filming this incision more, trying to pay more attention to filming the incision, the process of that, more so than this anesthetization, or I can't even pronounce that right, but maybe it'd be better to try to do both. So I'll make an attempt here with the camera work, but I gotta be quick when the fish is out to get the camera down at a good angle for the incision. So I think I'm gonna just try to get things as low as I can and see what happens here with this water and the edge of this brim here. That looks pretty good. As far as the incision goes, that ought to be as good as I can get it. Brightness seems pretty good too, and I think I ought to be able to work around it. Okay. And I think, yeah, zoom out here. I ought to be able to get the fish in here too. Let's see if we can do that. Alright, so here we have our fish, desperately needing surgery. And the veterinarian trade that's supposed to be responsible for that, trying to rip people off for $1,500. I don't know. Could make a whole video just about that, I think. So we're going to do half this cup first. And now we're going to wait to see if the fish overreacts to the medication or not. I'm going to bring the air down a little bit too. Alright. So, you should see like an elevation in the respiratory rate of the fish. And then it should start to either list or it should start to slow down and then list. Either way, it'll happen quick. Get this light in here just right. So far, it doesn't seem to be overreacting to the medication. Just gonna get some more air in there. Well, so far the fish doesn't seem to be having a bad reaction to it, at least. I feel confident I can add the rest of the dosage I prepared. So I'm going to go ahead and whisk the cup and then do that now. Just basically looking to see if I can make the current from the bubbles force the fish to swim, and then I can tell if it's starting to list a little or not. It's so shallow, it's resting its belly on the bottom and can't really get a good look at it. As long as it can swim against this current, I know it's not even time to start poking. So from what I've seen, this generally takes about 15 minutes, and we're probably approaching 10. So hopefully everything is right on par here, and I'll start seeing some results in the next 5 minutes. Just going to confirm that this pen actually works before I do this. And it does. Well, looks like the fish is starting to list a little bit. Gonna give you a little more air. Oh yeah, it's definitely starting to feel the effects. All right, we have listing. Now we gotta start poking. And then I can't even poke yet because the fish is not listing all the way over. So we're close. But we're not there yet. So 2 drops seem to be at this point an appropriate amount, and the effects are starting to take place. And it shouldn't be much longer before the fish is out. Looks like I'll be using those tweezers after all. Just a little too cumbersome to get in there and do a poke. Okay, yeah. Not there yet. Add some more air. Okay, I think we might be there. Nope. Close, but not there yet. You want the fish to be breathing the entire time, but you don't want, you don't really necessarily want this to be happening. This should just keel right over on her side. And this might be the tumor that's causing this. So still getting a pain reaction. Still not time. Definitely approaching the 15-minute mark. Still getting pain reaction. It's tough trying to figure that out. I can definitely get a much better visual of the tumor from this angle. Very difficult spot that it's in, and it seems very bloody already. Definitely going to be hard to do this. If it was just like on the body, I'd feel so much more confident about the outcome, but if I have to put the fish down, at least I have everything I've got right here, and the fish will never even know what happened at this point. Just hope we don't get to that spot yet. So, still getting the pain reaction. I don't want to add any more drops given the reaction the fish has already had. There should be enough already in the tank, in this little bowl here. Okay, definitely not as strong of a reaction, but still a reaction. make out the tumor right now underneath the gills, protruding like a little red ball. That's what's got to go. Still getting the pain reaction, which sucks. The fish should be out at this point. Makes me think I'm right on the edge and I should have used 3 drops. But we're just going to wait and be patient. 'Cause I don't want to be flooding the fish and have, be used too much and have to start irrigating the fish and bringing it back before I even make the cut. The respiration rate's definitely slowed down. Well, it's not as fast as it used to be. Still reacting to pain, unfortunately. I'm going to prepare one more drop. In case this continues for another 10 minutes, I want to be ready with another one. Okay, we're not there yet. Just moving that water around, keeping the oil moving throughout the water column here. Giving the fish some air at the same time. Trying to keep it away from them. Still reacting. Might be adding that third drop here in a minute. In hindsight, if I would do anything different, I'd probably provide a black backdrop just for the fish prior to doing the actual surgery, just so the fish didn't have so much bright light on it the whole time. Oh, we're close. Close. I was hoping this would be a fairly quick process so that I wasn't leaving the fish hanging for so long. But this is totally safe. I mean, what's happening at this point is totally safe. If the fish is not completely out, it just has lost control of its muscles. It's still able to feel pain, so it needs more time. But as long as those gills are moving, everything is okay, and the process can be reversed just by adding water that doesn't, putting the fish in water that doesn't have this stuff in it. Hard to be patient right now, that's for sure. You have to take a step back too. I mean, if this is, you're doing this on your, if you had like a $500 fish or anything in that range or a little lower, and you know you were stressing that bill with the vet, and you were doing this yourself. it, I think at this point in time you'd have to really focus on just taking a step back and trusting the process. Whereas with this particular fish, it cost me $3 and I'm not freaking out about it. But as you can tell, I'm going through all this because I care about the fish. Just, monetarily, you got to put a value on things. My God. I've got 3 of these and I can breed them in a heartbeat. And, you can only do so much for a fish. And I think this is going above and beyond. And, I got all these ingredients for 50, it was $52 and change. So it's like, well, I mean, do you feel bad about the fish with the tumor? Enough that you want to make a call to a vet, and then you want to find out now you got to pay $1,500. Well, I mean, at that point, would you pay $52 to do it yourself? I think the answer is yes, especially in this situation with the fish, because it's more like a test of my husbandry skills with fish. If I can do this or not, pull this off. So, seems like it's strange, when I was treating the fish originally, quarantining the fish, trying to figure out what was going on. I treated the fish for intestinal parasites 3 times, and then I was putting the fish on Primafix, basically for about I'd say a month now. And ever since I started those 2 treatments, this tumor or cyst or whatever it is, it deepened in color. It got vascular, and it started getting fed by a blood vessel. And now it seems like more than ever, it's almost turned completely red. Very close. Very close. So when I cut this thing, I don't know if it's gonna pop like a zit or if it's just gonna start oozing blood or what, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be very clean, which has got me kind of stressing. It's in a tough spot to begin with, but from what I understand, it's even worse when there's a big vessel on it. But prior to it getting all red, I could actually see the vessel, and it wasn't that, gigantic. So it certainly is something I should be able to close with this pen. Getting real close, but not there yet. I might add half of this drop. So right now we're at 2.5 drops. I have to be quick once this starts. All right, we gotta be right there. I just don't want to make the incision and have the fish flip off me. Very close, very close. That'll be close to 25-30 minutes now, I would think. Can't see my stream counter at the moment. And I don't think that the volume of water I used was very large either, so it seems like it was the appropriate amount to use. Just a tough fish. Okay, very, very little response. Very little response. Fish is very close to being out. Seem to have some water on the camera here. Very close, very close. Respiration rate's gone down a lot. Fish is basically out. The fish is out. We're ready to go. Well, I get a little bit of response there, so I'm going to wait. Yikes. Tough, tough. Not easy doing this. Not easy at all. $1,500? I don't know about $1,500. So I'm gonna get the bowl out of the camera's angle. I'm gonna get the bed ready. You got the idea of what's going on here. Just gonna get everything ready to do this cut. Try to give you a good angle of what's happening. Fish is still responding to light pinches with my fingers. adding some more air. Sorry, there's nothing to look at, but I gotta be ready to get the fish right out and do this. Alright, the breathing rate's very slowed. The fish is ready for the incision. Okay, so I can see that I can probably get a better incision by just pulling it out, by clipping it and pulling. So I'm going to clip and pull. Yeah, a little bit of bleeding here. That's some of it. There it is. Oh, we can get our water. It's grown into the gills of the fish, and I don't think that I can get it out. It's in a very tough spot. It's not hemorrhaging bad, which is good, but I don't think I can make a solid cut. I think it's just going to be more of this pulling and tearing business, which kind of sucks. Wow, it's quite a mess in there. Maybe it's some sort of a cancer. Because now that I get in there, it's fish is starting to wake up a little bit. It's kind of hard to get at the rest of it. I did get a good portion of it though. Kind of hard to see. Hang on, honey, don't wake up yet. We're not done. We're not done. That's it right there. That's most of it. so tight. There we go. Oh, it's right on. It's right on the gill. Really tough spot here. Okay, so the fish is starting to wake up. I'm gonna go ahead and dry off that site and start the cauterization. Get her back in there. Yeah, see, now you can see it. You can see more of it under there. Damn if I can get at it or not. It's fucking huge. I don't want to mess with the fish any more than I have. I've cut a good amount. I've cut a good amount. Did I get it all? I don't know. I just don't know. It's really in there. The good news is I don't see much to cauterize there. I might just do a little dab and leave it at that. Just a little spot right where I made that initial pinch. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, that's an awful smell. Sorry, honey, I think we're done. Alright, so applying a little betadine here, which I don't want the fish to drop too much of, but just going to get a little bit on there. Okay, and we got some fish bandage I'm going to apply. Give this a shake. Hold on, don't wake up yet. We're not there yet. Okay, a little fish bandage. Alright. Gotta dump this water. Okay, added some water into the other tank there, and we're back in. I'll draw this camera back out so you can get a better look at what's happening. That's actually pretty good. Okay, the deed is done. Now we just gotta keep the fish aerated and hope that this inflammation that I've just recently caused will go down. And basically the effects should go in reverse. The fish should start getting stressed and the respiration rate should start to pick up rapid, and then it'll start to calm down and go the other way. Gonna get rid of this nasty. Well, I did what I could, and it looks like I didn't kill the fish, so I'm pretty excited about that. Score 1 for butts. Just gotta wait now and watch this fish recover. See if I can fix the camera a little bit higher. Be able to see what's going on here. Oh, all right, gloves are coming off. Mask is coming off. Well, I definitely feel 100% more confident about the process now. And it's incredible how potent that stuff is. Just 2.5 drops was enough to knock out a fairly decent sized fish. So that's pretty significant. Nice and easy to do. Wasn't that difficult at all. If I had a growth on a body part, I would be 110% ready to do it, and I would scoff at the idea of somebody paying $1,500 to remove something off a body. Granted, there's labs and stuff that they do, but they don't have to. You know, they don't have to rack that up, and they also don't. They don't get that much in the labs. I mean, even if you deduct the ridiculous amount that they charge for labs, they're still probably charging a ridiculous amount for what I just did. I mean, you're probably looking at least probably $400 or $500 just for the cut. Get out of here. Yeah, I would use expletives, but it looks like this might be going on YouTube, so I won't. I'm going to be looking at putting some bath salt, not bath salts, aquarium salt in here. So I think I'm just going to get one little granule and put it in. Pieces were small, so we're going to do 3. 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully that'll help the fish. The aquarium salt will increase the respiration rate of the fish. got this really bright light right on the fish, and yet I can't pick that up on the camera for some reason. Seem to be having trouble with my camera. So you can see the fish is starting to slowly come back. Let's see if I can't. I can't. Geez, I wish I could get better camera angle on this whole process. So I can see a little bit um, of something right there in the bottom of its gills, but I have a feeling that's where I made the cauterization. Also, don't see any hemorrhaging. I mean, that was a really tough spot, and there was a lot of tissue behind the gills, a lot of red inflamed tissue. So, I mean, the fish is absolutely free of any flukes. I've been giving it anti-inflammatories. Um, I mean, I don't know what this could be other than sending it off for uh, sending it off for a biopsy or something, and I'm not doing that. No idea what this was. But I mean, the whole idea of this video and what I was trying to accomplish was to remove the damn thing, not figure out what the hell it was. From what I understand, with the types of tumors that you can't cure by this method, meaning that they just keep coming back. You have multiple tumors. There's like two or three in 2 or 3 different locations, and then you've got this whatever bogus that you can't fix. But if it's a single growth, the field is narrowed, but at the same time you got to be really careful that you don't pick something up off of what you're cutting, and just try to do a good job. I think I wouldn't recommend anybody doing what I just did there, because you can't just throw out a procedure like this to somebody that maybe is not ready for it. So I wouldn't recommend it for something that's dipping into an internal organ, like off an eye or off nasal passage, or off the gills, like what I've done here, because you're probably just as likely to kill the fish as you are to fix the problem. So I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, and you don't want to kill the fish if it's just gonna be some ridiculous growth on an eye, or something that's screwing up a body part. If it doesn't grow that rapidly, I would just leave it and not go through this. But when it comes to things that are on the scales of the body of the fish, you can do this no problem. This is all you gotta do is follow what I did, and you're in good shape. It's very easy to with the pair of tweezers like I used, that were only, I think they were $7, to grasp even wet tissue like what I was grabbing onto. And then a simple craft knife is good enough to make a cut. especially on a body part, would not be difficult. And I don't really see uh, anybody really talking about that on the videos I watched, which kind of sucks because I would have felt, a little more confident about what I was doing. And I did see some people, uh, veterinarians, that knocked out the fish, and you could tell everything went south, like nothing went right. And they cut the video short after the incision and didn't show this. And, it's probably pretty guaranteed the fish didn't make it. And this fish, you know, uh, this is a female Florida flagfish. I could lose this fish in an hour, in 2 days, or in 2 weeks from what I just did. But at least I gave the fish a shot to uh, have a normal respiratory rate and not be having this ball of nasty hanging out the side of its gills. At least now, when the cauterization from what I cut heals up, maybe the fish will be better off than how I left it. Only time will tell, and nobody's going to be watching the video that long, so maybe I'll do some sort of an update. I don't see anybody. I don't see too many people doing update videos. I did see one. I did see one update video, but not too many. So the fish appears to be getting its bearings a little bit, so I'm going to try to help it straighten out. I'm probably going to also irrigate it with the rest of the water that I had. Just going to need some more gloves. I think you could just leave the fish, but I wouldn't. Just concerned that if there's any kind of diaphragm in the fish, that it doesn't get screwed up from being upside down. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up this valve here. Grab the fish. Basically, if you can see him, just letting the water pour right into his mouth. I don't know if I can make that out or not. Fish isn't too happy about it, but it doesn't have a choice because its muscles can't fight back yet. It's still not out of the effects of what's happened. Well, that's good. It's a good sign. Good, good, good. Getting its balance back. So that was just straight Poland Springs water. Not any of the tank water or anything else that might have had just a little bit of this clove oil still in it. So just gonna keep that nearby. Let the bottle empty out. Try to help keep the fish straight. And it doesn't have to be all the way. It just, you don't want the fish completely upside down. So you can see the respiration rates picked up significantly. So I mean, we're hopefully out of the woods as far as um, the fish suffocating from the wound that I made, or any type of internal bleeding that would be swelling up the fish to the point where it couldn't come back from this. That's pretty much the end of the bottle. Fish is reacting well. I'm just gonna try to keep the light on so you can see what's happening here. Just kind of holding the fish so that it can't list to the left or to the right, but I'm not like holding the tail, or just letting the fish rest on my finger and the side of the glass. I'm sure when the fish is ready, it will at least make an attempt to swim away. And then I could probably go ahead and just put the air back in there and get ready to transfer the fish back into the hospital tank that's prepared for it, which is the little aquarium 2.5 gallon tanks. Basically got one of those, and what I'll be using is water from one of my tanks. It's very tempting to use tap that's dechlorinated, but unless you've got a whole bunch already that you've already poured out from the spigot, you don't want to do anything like that, because the tap water has got a very high potential hydrogen, or power of hydrogen, whatever they want to call it. So the pH is always going to be much higher than where you want it. So it looks like the fish is starting to react, trying to swim away from me, which is a good sign. My fingers are warm, so maybe it's not interested in leaving quite yet. And I don't think the respiration rate will slow anytime soon. I would think it'd be pretty rapid for the next couple days, given what's happened. So if you're somebody that's done this for the first time, and you're looking for the fish to go back the way it was prior to the surgery, I don't think, probably looking at like a 2-week time frame for something like that, and not right away. And like I said, the fish is coming out of the procedure well, but ultimately it could kill the fish, if bacteria or an infection sets in, or ick, or some other pathogen. Not really out of the woods. But as far as the procedure goes, I'm pretty happy. And it was a tough spot. I was expecting to be able to use that knife, and it ended up being a total fail. Which is why before you set out to do something like this, you should definitely give yourself a lot of options. Add some more air here. Fish is swimming well. Coming out of the anesthesia well. probably going to take a little more time and a few more different water changes because I would imagine that there's a little bit of residual clove oil still in here. So I'm going to go ahead and let the fish go. Let's see what we got here. It looks like we've got a bit of a success, ladies and gentlemen. Cue the round of applause. The pats on the backs. Okay, so you can see the process is pretty much reversed. We're back to where we were when I initially introduced the clove oil, and the fish should, look like it's, struggling to try to right itself, and eventually it's just going to start swimming around and probably be kind of pissed off that it's in such a small tank. So we'll start cycling out the water now. And I would imagine that for the next hour or so, the fish will probably be just like this. Maybe in a little less time, the fish will start swimming properly. But it's going to take a little while to get over that. And I definitely kept the fish under a lot longer than I wanted to, which sucks. But you don't want to add too much clove oil. You just kill the fish. You could see what I was doing. There was a time when I was ready to go, but I wasn't ready to go, and that was an eternity. And any time you could stretch that out, is probably better. As shitty as it was, is probably better. Because you put too much in, then you're going the other way and you're breaking out that irrigation line before you've even made a cut to try to bring the fish back. So that was really what I was trying to avoid, and managed to accomplish it with 2.5 drops. So I can't quite approximate how much water that's in there. I would say maybe it's maybe 16 ounces. That'd be about right. Maybe a little less, maybe 14. So what I'm going to be doing now is just changing out this water, replacing it with more water, and I don't want to use the cup that I was preparing the clove oil in anymore, so I'm going to be using just a regular kitchen cup. If I had a secondary glass bowl or container to put the fish in after the surgery, I would do that. It's just given the fact that I have to keep this on camera for everybody and that might be watching, that wasn't really an option. I don't have another one that's just like this to slide next to it. But pretty confident that like 90% of that clove oil is out of there. And even if there's some left over, it's not enough to put the fish out. Also not enough to hurt the fish. And if anything, it's probably providing a little pain relief for the fish. Don't go spinning around upside down on me. Okay, so we're going to flush with some more water. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, the fact that the bottom is white and the glass is bare on the bottom is making the fish even more try to nosedive at it. So uh, it might take a little while for it to get its tail down completely, but I'm feeling pretty good about its recovery so far. It's able to fight the current, which is strong. Strong, the current that this air bubbler makes, so definitely on the road to recovery. Bubbler's not pulling the fish away. It looks like, just like I said, starting to get a little agitated that it's in there. Can we get a Joe Biden come on man on the $600 or $700 for this procedure? Come on, man. Come on, man. Really? Price yourself out of the job. Not only you price yourself out of the job, you fuck the fish that you're trying to, the whole industry that you're trying to do good for. You just exclusive for zoos and the private aquarius, the millions of people that have fish tanks are just shit out of luck. That's a really fucked up scenario. Excuse my language. I mean, these kids are going to school and they're learning how to do procedures just like this. And what are they working on? Cadavers or some group of feeder guppies or something awful, or something that's just given to them in mass? Is that what's going on? Why they don't want to see anybody's fish? I mean, maybe somebody ought to look into stopping that. I couldn't believe that I reached out to three different teaching hospitals, teaching students on how to do things, and this wasn't anything they were interested in having a student learn on. It's fucked up. I'm not going to learn anything else from this. I'll learn nothing else from this. But somebody in that field, this is exactly what they needed, and they would be doing, many more procedures just like it. But nah, they want those dollars. Gotta have those dollars. Hang in there, honey. Almost done. So just repeating that process of trying to change out the water and replacing the water and aerating the water. Try not to molest the fish too much, make it flip upside down at all, make it struggle too hard to keep up with the current. Just kind of moving it around to keep it on the opposite side of the fish. So we're going to do one more change, and then I'm going to let it rest with the full amount of water in there. And then I'll let it sit, let the fish sit like that for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to lower the water level to about not much higher than the fin of the fish, so that it feels the need to swim to stay upright, and it will also keep the tail from doing what it's doing right now. Should hopefully help the fish. I think a bunch of water in a bucket with an air stone and this fish or any fish just freaking flying around in it is a bad idea and not what you want to be doing. Yeah, they keep things aerated, but you don't want a current at this point in time. You don't want the fish struggling to stay upright. So, just water changing over and over again is the way to go. And then if I think common sense tells me to lower once I've got the clove oil out of the fish's system, to lower the water so that neurologically it will straighten itself out and start swimming more appropriately. This is the first time I've done this, so it's all based on what little I could find on the YouTubes. I didn't really bother looking at internet posts. I probably should have, but with something like this, I was looking for visual aids more than step-by-step text aid. Okay, so we're going to do about 5 minutes, 10 minutes of this. I'm going to bring the water down, and then we're done, baby. I'm going to make myself a coffee, and I will be back. Okay. So we're getting close to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I expected this nosediving business to be happening. Not much you can do about that, except for what I'm gonna do, except lowering the water. Just want to make sure there's enough oxygen in there for the fish, which I'm going to do right now. Just gonna give her a few more minutes. I'm not concerned about the swimming right now, just the breathing. The breathing looks good. Definitely feel like I'm out of the woods. On the cut side of things. No hemorrhaging. Looks like the cut healed up nice. I also don't see like a bunch of inflamed swelling happening, so that's good. All right, so let's see about getting this water down. I just scooped up a little piece of tissue that was on the top of the water, and maybe that was the little bit that I couldn't get. It was a strange thing, like when I got a hold of it, the the cyst or whatever, it had something on it. It had something that's like a string that ran deep into the gills of the fish, like maybe it was a nerve, possibly, because when I was on it, it seemed like the fish reacted even when it was out. So uh, I'm hoping that's what that was. It was just a bit of nerve. But I feel like I grasped the majority of it with the tweezers and was able to clip it out. that's about enough, I think. Yeah, you don't want to go too low that you stress the fish out and make it think that it's losing its environment. So you can see that kind of encourages the fish to swim around more actively. It also keeps the tail down. So now the fish will start to swim around, it'll breathe better, everything will start to come around better. But you don't want to do this right away because there's not enough water diluting what the fish is respirating. You want to have a good amount in there to get rid of what you've added. Now I might take like a one little piece of aquarium salt and put it in there. Oh, put my lights. Geez, I wish I could get a better angle on this fish, but it's not happening. Maybe now I can play with it. But I'm done messing around with this. The lighting is tough. Very tough. Very tough. Okay, so I'm dropping about a half of an eraser sized piece of aquarium salt into the center of the tank or bowl, and I'm gonna add some aeration if I can. Not good enough. I got plan B. Oh, come on with the light. Come on, the lights. And I get this nice little LED light for reading books and stuff, but they give you like a 2-foot cord to plug the thing in. Thanks a lot. All right, plan B. Oh. Get in there. There. I've done everything I can possibly think of to aid this fish in its restoration here. That looks like just the right amount of oxygen. It's not bubbling over too much, not pulling the fish too much. The water level's down low enough so that the top of the tail is hitting the water and keeping it flat the way it should be. The respiration's calmed down a little bit too. The aquarium salt, just that little bit of aquarium salt will help aid in the oxygen uptake of the fish. So you don't want to put too much in, but just that little bit is, I'm sure, a measurable amount for the fish. Geez, I'm really surprised that I don't see a lot of really red inflammation around the gills. It's looking good. Really looking good. So far, anyway. That I'm going to go ahead and keep the stream rolling until I feel confident that somebody watching would feel like the fish is recovered as much as it's going to for the night. Like I said, it's going to take, probably 2 weeks before the fish is acting like it used to. But I would expect, based on what I've seen, I would expect the fish to be swimming somewhat normally by tonight at some point. I don't know if that's going to be captured on film or not, and how long that's going to take, but I'm going to roll for as long as I can, and then like I said, I'll probably post this to YouTube. So the fish has just gone by the bubbler and is enjoying the air and looking good. I guess another thing to note that would have been good, aside from having a black backdrop for putting the fish out, it would also have been nice to have a little valve on the airline just to regulate how much is going through. But I used a fine air stones throughout, and I think that's really all you need to focus on. I see a little bit of red now. Interesting that the salt might have brought that out. Definitely see a little bit of red on the gills now. The salt might might take a little bit of the aqua bandage off. So I'm glad I only used a little bit, and I'll keep my eye on that. And then just like that, it's pink again. So yeah. One side looks very good, and the other side looks like it's got a bit of um, inflammation. I'd say inflammation. And just because I cauterized the wound doesn't mean that the fish isn't hemorrhaging. So I, it seems to be looking good as far as that goes. Like, I don't see the colorization of the gills is actually looks better than it was before the surgery. Believe it or not, at least on one of the sides I'm looking at, and then on the other, it's seems to be swelling a little bit inflamed, a little bit red, but not bleeding. So, but like I said, you don't know. You gotta wait to see what's going on within the fish, and how not only does the wound pose a fatal threat, but also any infection or pathogen that might try to opportunistically move in at this point, because the fish is stressed. And just like a just like a person losing 3 layers of their skin. It's raw, and the last thing you'd want to do is be swimming in your own urine or poop, because you'd catch something, and that's it's no different with the fish. So anytime you stress the fish out, you basically skin them. They just don't have the pain sensation. They have the scared out of their mind sensation. It's like if every time somebody scared the hell out of you, you lost 3 layers of your skin. That's pretty much what happens to a fish, and what has happened right here as a result of the surgery. But everything I did was um, influenced by that. Like, I really tried to pay attention to the stress of the levels of the fish prior to the incision. Like, I I didn't want to net the fish and have any of its coat removed from being transported. And I put the fish in a cup and was able to walk only a few feet away before it got into this bowl. So that it's very unlikely that it lost much, if any. But then this whole process absolutely made the fish shred all of it. So hopefully the uh, aqua bandage is, you know, going to do its job, and seal up the fish, and basically replace that slime coat. And aside from the topical application I used, I'll either add as directed amounts to my tank that it's going into to recover in, or I will add API Stress Coat Plus, which has aloe in it. I've had better results with things like Fix and Stress Coat Plus than I have with anything called Aqua Bandage. But this is my first time using it, and it was very slimy and seemed like it's going to do its job. And I'll be inclined to continue using it as directed for this process. But going forward for the next, weeks or so after I feel like the fish is normal again, or somewhat, I'll be using anti-inflammatories like Indian almond leaves and Stress Coat Plus with the aloe in it, and also a bit of Prima Fix, which is basically concentrated Indian almond leaves. So I don't know if you can make out or not, but the the breathing on the fish is much better. Let's see if I can get the zoom in good on that fish right now. Maybe I can fix that a little bit. Yeah, that looks a little better. There we go. So it just kind of dipped in behind the stone, but if it backs out, you ought to be able to see the respirations come down a lot. The fish is starting to calm down. That's a pretty good picture there. I don't want it to be bashing itself into that airline like that. That's not good. There. Chill out. So you can actually make out that inflammation I was talking about on the right side gill there, uh, and you can see on the left side that the left side gill's also not as inflamed, and you don't see that there's actually any swelling whatsoever, which is phenomenal. So it absolutely has at least one good side of its body at the moment, and I'm trying to really focus on the left gill and how it's breathing as a benchmark for how the fish is doing, and not the right, because the right side seems to be a bit inflamed, and that could be hemorrhaging. That could just be swelling from what I did. Only time will tell. Yeah, baby. I see you. You're looking good in there. Fish is just looking at me like, the fuck did you do to me? What the fuck just happened? Where am I? What's going on? Why does my mouth hurt? So I'll wait like maybe another 10 minutes like this to help the fish get its buoyancy correct. Then I'll go ahead and add water again, and I'll look for signs that the fish can't maintain itself correctly. And if that continues, then I'll go ahead and lower the water again. It's also worth noting that the side fins are responding. There isn't one tucked into the side. That's a telltale sign the fish is in pain. So there might be an appropriate amount of clove oil still permeating throughout the fish, at least aiding in any kind of pain response from the cut that I made. This is also towards the tail end of the day for the fish. The fish might be up for maybe another 2 more hours, but this would all be resting time from here on out. So the timeline, I think, could be good like this, so that the fish is spending the entirety of the night resting as opposed to the entirety of the day alert and recovering. It might be more appropriate, as long as there isn't like some filter that's going to suck your fish up, to have it um, in that kind of scenario first. Where are we getting this? This is doing good. Very happy to be next to the airstone. It's doing its thing. Recovering. Okay. Moment of some truth. If I don't run the fish over with water before I fill the fucking thing up, you know. It's keeping its tail down so far. Oh, that's come up a little bit there. Determined to get in the path of the current, which might be a good thing, showing it's trying to get away. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I think most people would call it right here a success. And I'm going to go ahead and say I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good right now. Fish is breathing fine, absolutely fine. There's no hemorrhaging externally that's visible at all. There's no massive inflammation, like something was cut that shouldn't have been. I feel like I got a hold of it and I clipped it, and then that trailing piece that I couldn't get all of, I think might have been maybe nerve or maybe some sort of a tendon, something part of the inner part of the gills, because it was continuing to go into the gills. I don't know if it was captured on film well, but I felt like if I went in any more aggressively, I was going to cause damage. And I mean, if I feel like this is a success. I mean, as far as what I did, the surgery part of it, it's hard to catch on camera the gills of the fish from the side, but they are looking good. I don't know why there's this perpetual shade. Might be from my camera. I don't know if it's not getting this close enough. I keep my fish tanks on triple siestas for the most part. There's one that isn't, but the one that this fish is in is on a triple siesta, and this is a very powerful light that's on the fish, and you can see, and most fish are very light sensitive to things like that, especially manipulating the beam, and you can tell that this fish could care less, because it's pretty it's not the surgery. It's the light that I provide. Try to mimic fallen tree branches that they're under. So different times of the day the tank is shaded. It helps with foot traffic, so they don't freak out all the time because there's always something going on during the middle of the day in the tank as far as the photo period, and they don't have to um, they don't have to rely on any one given time where they gotta be looking for food and worrying about somebody walking around. It could be any time of the day that somebody could be walking around, and it could be any time of the day that the lights go down. But it's not. It's on a schedule, and I think that they get used to it. But that being said, the these fish aren't freaking out over the light because of those siestas. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little oxygen here. It looks like the fish is doing well and not dipping up and not looking down. It looks like most of the effects of the clove oil are wearing. I'm going to go ahead and try to create a little bit of a current here and see how it fares on its own. And the air stone's very low and creating too strong a current for the bowl that it's in. So I'm just kind of pinching it and just trying to provide a little air in the water. Fish seems to be swimming well on its own. You can see that inflammation on the right side is not getting any worse. Breathing is no worse. And if the fish is orientating itself correctly, if anything, phenomenally, because it's in a round bowl surrounded by white and a super strong light. So I think very disorientating environment, and it's doing quite well, just chilling. Definitely would have wanted to go with a different color bottom. The red's helping, but that white from the paper towel's overwhelming, I'm sure. Okay. So just as a test, that's the air stone open all the way. Fish is able to keep itself upright. It's swimming in the current. If anything, trying to get the hell out. Calling this a success. And I think anything more is just for show. I'm going to go ahead and try to get it in the hospital tank now. And I'm going to be adding some Stress Coat Plus and Indian almond leaf, and I'm going to consider adding this bio bandage. It's 5 mil per 20 gallons, so I'm gonna have to do some math on the 2.5 gallons for the fish is going in. But I can confidently use Pimafix and Stress Coat Plus, and that's what I'll be using. I don't think I'll be adding any Pimafix tonight. It'll just be stress coat plus, and then I'll see how the inflammation is tomorrow. I want to give the fish a break. But look at it floating right over, swimming right over those bubbles and not getting screwed up. Fish is doing outstanding. And crossing those bubbles is significant too, because um, the wound that I created was right there where bubbles would be, brushing it and maybe causing pain, and it didn't seem to mind at all being right next to it. So I think the clove oils work perfect, and I wasn't too aggressive, and I got the job done, and it looks like it's going to be a success. But time will tell, and I'll try to keep an update video. I'm noticing now, I'm going to cut the air off so you can see that the fish has lost almost, I would say, 100% of its slime coat. So much so that the bubbles from the air stone are sticking to the fish, and that's a telltale sign. The fish is definitely stressed. I think you can make that out even like on the underbelly. There's a lot of bubbles on the fish now. But it just it needs to get its slime coat back. It needs a rest, and it needs to be out of this light, and that's what I'm gonna do now. So probably gonna go ahead and cut off the camera and call this a success. At least for now. I'll try to keep an update video going. Maybe in a couple weeks. I'll wait 2 weeks. That'll be enough to say that's that. For all those that are interested in this little Florida flagfish, feel free to go ahead and throw a name. I don't name my fish, but I don't have too many fish on camera like this, so feel free to throw something out there, and I'll do my best to remember.